coming along. A couple little holes to fill. Other than that, so welcome back to the Jeep build. I got a little bit of finishing to do. I gotta weld that grind groove up, and I gotta weld this little nick up, weld it up, grind it out, smooth it off. Front and the back is going to get a light. Not installed yet. Very close. And after a lot of trimming and a lot of fitting, they finally fit up inside there. They fit all the way along both sides. Nothing's welded yet, just it all just fits in as tight as it can. The back here, you can see it comes in and almost touches the back of this, so once I got that squished together, I can weld that all the way across and weld all that into the rock slider. This entire edge is going to get welded all the way along to the inside edge of the rock slider, and also the frame connectors are getting welded in solid, both sides. There's a lot of welding to do underneath here. As you can see, that one is in place. With that in place, you can get an idea of the edge, how much it sticks out. So it's going to stick out a decent amount. This side has exactly the same gapping, so it seems to fit pretty much identical to the other side. Same idea, weld in the entire spot in there, seal it up with some sort of sealant afterwards. That's something else we're going to have to do. We're going to have to seal it up. There's literally rust in the sills still, even though it didn't look like it. And that fits along there. That's under to there. Those are going to weld in solid. Along with this side, same thing. Weld the edge in all the way along. Weld that solid to the subframe. That's our rock sliders. Sticks out a good amount. Could stand on it if you have to. Just enough edge. Not designed for a step. It's not a step. It's a rock slider. Sill protector. So you can open your doors after you go wheeling. Trying to get some of this welding done. The tack on worked. They're sitting tacked on. That's just tacked on there. Tacked on there. Tacked on at the front. But oh, the weather is not working with me very good at all. The weather is bad. Always rust, so much rust. Constantly grinding, constantly cleaning. Gotta get this done. So the past week has been nothing but just rain, rain, rain. This side here, that's tack welded in there, and there, and at the front. Keeps getting wet. More rust. But these are going to be some tough rock sliders, I think. Fender has to pull out. We're gonna have to put a welded on edge along there with the 2 bolts. We have to re-bolt this fender. Once the welding's more complete, we'll take the fender off, fix that. Try and get some more of this welded up, see how this works. All right, midway process update. Most of the outer welding is completed. There's still welding to get finished inside there and fill that hole. We got a bead all the way along the step now, or the rock slider now. Just got finished welding in and around the edges along the bottom there, and then put the stopper in for the back of the fender. Now the fender will fit on, and that's all welded in and around there, and around. And this side is not finished yet. That's what it looks like. It's not welded up yet. Gotta get that in place to hold the fender out at the right spacing. So once that's in, so that's what I gotta weld this side up next. Going from side to side, doing one spot at a time. Got this outer weld all the way along here. Not super pretty, but functional. And still got a weld in behind there. Got this part of it welded in solid to the frame rails. That side is also welded in solid to the frame rails, both sides. I still have to fill in all the old spot welds. So that's what I've been welding on next. Okay, YouTube, there's been just so much welding going on, there's no point in showing you all the welding, but the underneath welding is pretty much completed. The seam all the way along is welded to the back of the rock slider, so the rock slider is welded pretty much 95% all the way around the perimeter. On the front here is welded in all the way around. Flux core makes a mess, but we just give it a wire wheel and seal it up and it should be good. And that's all welded all the way along the edge, all the way to the back. As you can see, there's dirt and grime and everything in everywhere. When these things fill up with dirt, they fill up with dirt. There's a bunch of dirt inside here. Goes down the channel there. This channel actually ends up filling up with dirt. That's why I have these plugs to pop out. But they're not so easy to get out sometimes. And yeah, more rust gets into everything. This shock is rusty. The leaves. Coil spring is not the greatest looking. Sway bar's got a good amount of rust on it as well. More rust. Welding all the way along that edge. Hopefully it holds it on there for the rest of the life of the vehicle. Nice and solid. This side as well has all its welding done all the way along the edge and all the way to the front. Complete the welding up inside the channel here. We'll get down and I'll take a video of that once I'm done. Bottom of it is welded all the way along to the subframe. Nice and solid. Looks pretty good. Again, front needed to be welded in all the way along. Front all the way to the back. Again, this side has a piece of angle iron to hold the fender at its right spacing. Just going to finish up these back corners. We got to get a piece of metal put into there in order to be able to weld that solid. Piece of metal has to be welded in there to take up the gap. We can't have any dirt and rocks flying into there. We're going to trim the fender back. The whole inside edge is going to get welded together. This side as well needs to be welded in and sealed up with undercoating. Once that's done, no rocks or any pebbles or dirt or anything should get in there. It should be nice and solid. It's getting dark out. I have to use a flashlight as my extra lighting, so I'm trying different things with extra lighting here. So hopefully you can see it well enough. Got the back corners welded in late last night. Patch on either side, fully welded all the way around the edges. We're going to undercoat it and seal it in with some urethane or seam sealer or something like that. We'll go along, we'll do all the edges that way. I want to put some seam sealer all the way along that far edge, all the way down as well, and around the cross braces and just anywhere it could use some sealing and paint. This piece of angle iron is welded in to hold the fender bottom at its right location with the door. We're going to drill and tap those and put the original bolts back in to hold the fender back on. Are bolted in. Gap looks nice and solid. Everything seems to be fitting pretty good. Pretty happy overall how it's going. That's bolted in nice to the piece of angle iron back there and holding things straight. The only thing I don't really like is a little bit of gap below the bolts there. I might hammer the bottom edge in, flatten it out. We'll see how it looks. Right now it's just fitting it back on. Got the same done to both sides. This side as well. Piece of angle iron welded in, pieces bolted on. Looks nice right there. Pretty good across there. Oh, there's Cat again. Got this back corner tacked in and welded together too. That's ground off. We're going to seal it all in nice and solid. Bit of snow today, but say a couple weeks later with the rock sliders painted, sitting on the weather. A little bit dirty, but no worse for wear. Doing what they're intended to do, is sit there and look like rock sliders. Snowed overnight. Side's all dirty, but on there. So far, so good. It looked nice and solid.